Hey dudes and girls, it is the new year, and with the new year usually comes new fitness goals. Whether you're first starting out or you've been doing it for a while but just need a little refresher on the basics, we wanted to come out with this video covering the best beginner workouts and also some of the other very useful things you want to make sure to keep in mind. Now the things we're going to be going over in this video is not only for beginners, and you'll see this because almost every professional athlete, their coach or trainer continues to use and preach these same things time and time again to make sure they're getting the most out of their training. So let's get this started. Yeah. First, we're going to be talking about some basic bodily needs before jumping into the workouts, because without these, you're never going to see the results that you want. And that basic bodily need is going to be sleep. It might seem like a no-brainer, but it is vital for your performance and recovery. Sleep is a basic need for the body and mind, but sadly, it can be neglected. Either getting to bed late because you're out partying, or maybe staying up too late because you're binge watching your favorite TV show. Or maybe you do get to bed on time, but then you pull your phone out and let that harsh blue light flood your eyeballs while you get lost in the rabbit holes of the internet as time wastes away. You might be doing it right now. Regardless, you want to make sure you get to bed on time to make sure you're getting your 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Now, I made the mistake in thinking that when I was in the gym and lifting the weights, the more I lifted, the more my muscles grew. But the muscles are actually breaking down as you work out. So make sure you schedule accordingly to get all that sleep and make those sweet gains. Next one is going to be another basic bodily need, and that is making sure you're getting the proper macro and micronutrients. A common question we usually get is, what kind of supplements should I take? And if there's one that we would recommend, it would be a good protein powder. That's why we use Four Sigmatic protein powder. It's all natural, it's delicious, and it's packed full of amazing ingredients to give you the extra boost you need. It's a moon-supporting, chef-worthy, plant-based protein, is why I love to add it to my pancakes in the morning, and if I'm not having my pancakes, well, then I'll add it to my oatmeal. I also love having it in my post-workout protein shake to make sure I'm getting a little extra protein after my workouts, and also I'll have it in a smoothie during the day just to have a little delicious snack. Now, I used to go for the cheap whey protein, and I have to say there were some unpleasant results. But once I switched up to a higher grade protein, it made all the difference. So make sure to click the link in the description to get 10% off of your order and free shipping for orders of $100 or more. Now, much like the name explains, you want to use supplements to enhance your already strong eating habits. Sometimes it's hard to get everything you need out of food alone, so that's when supplements come in to add that little extra bit that you might miss. And making sure you get the proper amounts is going to let your body perform at its maximum capacity, making sure that you're a lean, mean, buff dude machine. So you might be asking yourself, well, how do I know how many calories and macros I need throughout the day? Well, thankfully, there's an awesome tool that you can use called a TDEE calculator, or Total Daily Energy Expenditure Calculator, to let you know how many calories and macros you need. Whether that be for maintenance, or let's say you want to lose weight, or maybe you want to bulk up and gain weight. So you can pick what fits right for you, and you can also adjust the macronutrients as well, either being lower carbohydrate, higher carbohydrate, or maybe moderate carbohydrates. Although this is not an exact science, it gives a good starting point for you to know generally how many calories and macros you need throughout the day. Another great tool that you should have is a food calorie tracking app. Now, there's a lot of different apps out there, so pretty much pick the one that's right for you, but it can make it a lot easier so that way you always know how many calories you're having throughout the day, and it becomes kind of like a cool game, you know. You always have your stats there, you can look back on what you had before to see what works and what doesn't, and make small adjustments here and there to make sure you're getting most out of your foods. Something else that can really help is food prep. Picking one day out of the week to prep all your food for the next week, so that way all your food is ready for you. You don't really have to think about it. It saves a lot of time and effort, and it makes sure you're always on track. Next up is going to be warm-ups and mobility for your pre-workouts and stretching for your post-workouts. This is something that can seem like a waste of time, especially when you're younger or maybe on a time crunch, and sadly, I made the same mistake of skipping my mobilities in warm-ups because I really didn't think it was that useful, or maybe I didn't need it. But thankfully, I learned early on how important it is, and especially when you do see those professional athletes, they have a very rigorous warm-up, mobility, and stretching program to make sure they are performing at their peak. Warming up, mobility, and stretching can not only increase the strength in your lifts and help you with performance, but it is also a vital tool in helping with injury prevention. So make sure you take 10 to 15 minutes for your warm-ups and mobility before your workouts. An easy warm-up could be just jumping on a treadmill or an elliptical machine or any kind of cardio machine, and if you don't have that available, well, you can just do jumping jacks or jump ropes. After your warm-ups, go ahead and take the rest of your time to do the mobility. Now there's certain joints you want to pay close attention to because they're the most mobile joints in the body. The shoulders, the hips, the ankles, and the wrists. Some easy shoulder mobility work would be some pass-throughs, some wall sides, and some shoulder rotations. Some good mobility for the hips and the ankles would be a full squat, leg swings, leg rotations, and lunges. And to finish it off, doing some simple wrist rotations will really help warm up and mobilize the wrists. Once your workout's done, take that 10 to 15 minutes after your workouts to perform some static or dynamic stretching depending on what you really want to pay attention to. Static stretching is pretty simple. You pretty much just hold a position, a stretch position of a muscle to really try to return that muscle to its original length. Now this is really going to help because as the muscles get tighter and tighter, it could pull your joints out of alignment and cause you pain or discomfort in the future. And that is why it is so important to have a mobility routine, a stretching routine, so that way when you go in the gym, you perform at your peak, you're injury-free, and you feel damn good. We are on to our last bodily need, and that is gonna be hydration. We are made up of up to 70% water, so it really goes to show you that we need hydration in our life to make sure we perform and function, and also need to replenish what we lose throughout the day. It can be very easy to forget to drink your water, but having it available to you at all times through something that you can carry around with you can make all the difference. Moving on to the workout, and we would recommend the 3 days a week full body program, working with the Golden 5. The Golden 5 being squats, deadlifts, bent over rows or pull-ups, bench press, and overhead press. These exercises are considered a compound movement, meaning they're working multiple muscles and multiple joints in the body at once. So you're getting the most bang for your buck in these exercises, and they're not only building strength, but they're also building functionality too, because you're not gonna only use these movements inside the gym, but you're also gonna use these same movements outside the gym as well. Now it might be tempting to jump right into more of a bodybuilding type split where you're focusing on one muscle group and using a lot of isolations, get that nice pump. And sadly, I fell into this when I was younger, but thankfully, I learned a little later on that you really need to focus on these bigger compound movements because they are gonna be the most benefit, especially when you're first starting out. And this is one of the reasons why we always include a beginner phase in our programs that focus on this full body to really help build the foundation before moving into the more complex programming or more bodybuilding type splits. And it doesn't matter how advanced the athlete is, they'll still use these same Golden 5 exercises time and time again because really nothing can beat them. And yes, they're doing maybe more weight and they might be doing a little bit more complex techniques. It could be pause reps, it could be force reps, it could be explosive reps or ballistic, but it's still really the same movements. And that's what you have to take into consideration, that you're starting from scratch, but these same exercises are gonna stick with you for your whole fitness journey. Another thing you wanna do is track your weights. This is gonna help you see your progression throughout the weeks, the months, and the years to make sure you're always on track. And only after you put in the time with these big compound movements, you should start implementing in some isolation movements to pinpoint certain muscle groups you really want to work on. But you might be saying to yourself, well, I don't have a barbell, I don't have a power rack, so there's no way I can do these exercises. Thankfully, these exercises can be performed with anything, whether that be dumbbells, body weight, or even mobility bands. And that's one of the reasons why we come out with so many different types of programs, because we realize not everyone has all the tools at their disposal. As a good example, there was a time in my life where me and Hudson had to use a camping cooler and some water jugs to get our workouts in. But hey, we still got those Golden 5 in. Anyone and everyone can reach that buff dude status. So if you want to know more, make sure to visit buffdudes.us and check out our programs because there's a hell of a lot of good workouts in it. But remember, it's always gonna start with the basics. There we go. That is a quick beginner's guide to the gym. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I just want to say a huge thank you to Four Sigmatic for making this video happen. If you haven't already, make sure you check out their website, foursigmatic.com. It's easy to navigate. They have a bunch of different products from protein powders to teas to coffee. And if you click on our link in the description, you'll get 10% off and free shipping on any order that is $100 or more. So thanks, stay safe, and as always, stay buff. Yeah!